kind of like you just had a click. I just had a vision in my head when you were talking, and I was like, well, okay, so now I stack my spine intentionally, pulling my lats down and shrinking myself. You used to put on a deadlift suit, and the straps are so damn tight that it would do it for you.
Yeah.
So was I really doing it to the intent that I could be doing it now? And like, before rooting, when I rooted, it was like, yeah, spread the floor or twist a little bit. And now it's like, no, I'm actually trying to build my transverse and longitudinal arches, and I'm actually grabbing the floor, and I'm actually stacking my ankle. And then I was always a big arch back lifter. So yes, I was bracing, but bracing is more than just the blowing up. It's stacking the spine and getting the rib cage dropped on the pelvic floor. So it's like, yes, I was bracing, but I wasn't bracing to what I know bracing is now.
Right.
And what if I did throw that suit back on?
Exactly.
And how much pressure could I create?
And then that's like, that kind of bleeds into the fucking conversation that we had earlier, where it's like, you get that bug in your head because you're like, I know so much more.
Yeah.
Like, what if I applied this? And it's like, fuck, what if I could like hit the numbers I used to hit? It's like, and then you fucking start doing shit and you're like reminding yourself that you're like, fuck, I'm actually getting old now. And it's like, it catches up to you, but it's addicting,
It's very addicting, like power and strength.
Yeah,
like,
you always think you can be better, and do it better and move better and whatever, I always thought that was super. The way that you said that too, because like Brianni, my girlfriend, who's also an all-time world record holder,
crazy little fucking stick of dynamite, like
585 pound deadlift at 165. It's insane. She's incredible at what she does. But her and I always talk about in the seminars and like with our coaching clients, it's like active range of motion versus passive range of motion. Whereas like the suit straps are pulling you down and like creating that tension in your upper back and your lats, but you're not actively doing it yourself. It's kind of similar to like the people you'll see individuals, raw lifters and geared or whatever, but like geared lifters can get away with it more because the suit gives them that tension and that force, that active range of motion. But like people that are squatting with their toes turned out super, super far, that's it works, but it's very, very difficult because in order to like root and screw the feet in, the whole thing is like creating balance between external rotation of the femur and then internal rotation of the tibia and fibula to keep the fucking ankle stacked and like the force going straight down, but the opening of the hips. If you turn the toes out, you're basically like automatically, passively getting that external rotation at the femur, but then you're not actually doing it actively. So like the muscles that abduct the femur aren't as active as you want them to be, which is the glute medius and like the vastus lateralis, the shit on the outsides of your legs.
Right.
So if you're in passive range of motion and you go into a squat, what's a super, and I don't know if you'll know this, you might, but it's like just a big thing that's been happening lately. What's a super common occurrence for raw lifters to hurt themselves in the bottom of the squat? With the turned out toes.
Knees going in, their knees are dropping in.
Knees going in, but what happens when the knees go in? Your
adductors flex and
you, because you're in that passive range of motion, you go from an extreme stretched position of the adductors because everything is abducted out and pulled out. You go from extreme stretched, and when you're extreme stretched, it's extreme relaxed, especially if you're in passive range of motion because you're not eccentrically loading shit. You go from complete stretched, complete relaxed, knees cave in, adductors turn on, go from 0 to 100.
Yep.
And so many people are fucking injuring their adductors these days because it's been super, super common for people to squat with their toes super turned out.
Right.
And it makes hitting depth super easy. But if you're not actively keeping that tension in the abductors, all your shit always fades in. You get that internal rotation at the femur, of the femur at the hip, and you blow your fucking adductor up.
Yeah.
And that's been happening to so many people lately because it's like, it's just interesting to like draw that parallel because it's like if you use the suit to do that, maybe that's why when like raw lifting first started to get popular, so many people were pulling with like that rounded thoracic spine.
Yes.
And maybe it's just taking a minute to catch up or something because like people are still squatting with their toes turned down super hard. and they're just blowing their adductors up. But it's like, maybe if you were a little bit more active in that position, you could avoid it.
No, that's actually an interesting concept. So you're basically saying, don't go so wide with your feet, bring them in a little bit, and then when you root, you're gonna need to actually get some tension pulling it out.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that's going to cue you to keep that tension instead of hitting the depth. And when you go from eccentric to concentric, you relax and then go, whoa, and slam everything in.
Exactly. And it's not so much about like everybody always hears the cue knees out.
Yeah.
But it's not so much keeping the knees out, it's keeping the knees neutral and the hips out.
Yes.
Because the knee is like, it's a fucking hinge joint.
Yeah.
It just bends. It bends and it flexes and extends. There's no real rotation that can occur, at least like not anything super
Nothing major,
Yeah. But, and it's like I'm only doing it with my upper body because you can like visually see it. But it's like, what is the hip? It's covering the mic. What is the hip? A ball and socket.
Yeah.
So it rotates.
It goes all the way around, yeah.
So where do you want to generate that out tension, the external rotation? Get it at the hip. And then if your toes are forward or slightly more forward, but your hips are active, then all your knee has to do is fucking bend and extend.
Right.
You get the range of motion from the hip, so you don't have to rely on it from the knee, and you're not like rolling on the outsides of your feet, like
right.
And this just
that was so common in my day to smash your foot out.
How often did people blow the sides of their feet or blow the sides of their chucks out?
I got a good story about that.
Yeah, but then it's like, why do you think that was happening? Because they were trying to open the hips with passive range of motion, because the suit kept them tight, so they didn't have to generate the tightness themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of had to force your knees out.
Yeah.
When I was doing AWPC Worlds, and this is when I was still drug free, and I'd done over 1,000 drug free squat, which I think the AWPC record was 800 when I started or something. And I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, you people are fucking settling because you're claiming drug free. I can't do it. And so I got pissed, and my goal was to like make the drug free squat as high as possible. And I went to Chicago at AWPC Worlds to do 1,052, and I had old school Van high tops, checkered Vans, and about halfway down I rolled out over my sole. And in typical Chad fashion, I went, all right, I got this. I'll hit depth, and then I'll just pull my foot back in and stand back up. And what did I do when I pulled my whole knee went bam, 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 and just before I know it, I'm on the ground going, what the hell happened there?
God.
Maybe you're a little too arrogant sometimes. I seriously, in my head, coming down, and it wasn't that fast. I watched the video, and I'm like, how did I think of all that shit? It was only like, in my head, I was like, oh, perfect, I got this, not a problem.
See, but dude, that's the thing with me. As soon as you start thinking when you're moving, you're fucked. Because I actually had, that reminds me of a story. Bree and I did a seminar in Salt Lake City, like 2 weeks ago or whatever, and I was scheduled to hit some like heavy squats. I was hitting like 782 for like 3 singles or whatnot. And on the first single, there was like, we did the seminar, and it was all like relatively new people.
Yeah.
And everybody hung out and was just kind of like watching, because she hit 475 for a double, which is insane.
Yeah, a little girl. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like, I'm gonna tell her you're calling her a little girl, because like, no, and she's like, what the fuck that guy? Like, I'm big. But everybody was just watching, and I remember I literally like brace, get myself set, and start the descent on my first single, and I look up, and I just remember thinking all this shit, because a dude that was watching me lift stepped in front of me, and he had a Batman symbol on his shirt, and I just remember thinking like, oh, there's a Batman symbol, and then I'm like, oh shit, I'm like looking at the Batman symbol, and I'm like, no, look up. And then I'm like, oh, look up. And then I'm like, oh, but there was still Batman, and now it's in the corner of my eye, and I'm just thinking about Batman. And I'm like, fuck, I'm squatting. And then I like come up with it, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, that felt like shit. And I was like, I literally just had like a fucking ADHD moment where I was just like, and I'm like, oh fuck, I had so many thoughts all at once. And I was just like, and then after that, I'm like, guys, can we have not people like stand right in front of me when we're squatting? And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. Just like, Next time, I just kind of got distracted. So
My real question though, if it would have been a Superman emblem, would you have caught your?
Fucking no, dude. I literally just think that like, for some reason, I just saw it and it was yellow and it was bright, and I was like, oh, and then I'm like, oh, thinking all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, there's 780 pounds on my back. I was like, oh fuck. I was like, shit.
I was
stupid.
After the little girl comment got me thinking. We went to another elite FTS seminar, and this was after I dropped down to I think I dropped down to 350 or 340 or something. Mm-hmm. And I'm checking into the hotel, and Eddie Cohn walks in, and he comes up to me and he goes, "Damn, you're almost normal size now." And I'm like, "Well, am I supposed to be pissed or happy? I don't know. What the hell did you just say to me?"
Yeah. See, and that's that. Well, it's the same thing. You said the same shit to me today because we're fucking. I hit my bench in the morning, and then I came back later because I saw you at the beginning, and then I came back later because Bree had a hair appointment this morning. She had to hit the rest of her stuff, so I was just gonna hit my accessories after. I'm doing my accessories training bodybuilder style or whatever, and you look at me and you're like, yeah, you're leaner and kind of more compact than a lot of power lifters, and I'm like, yeah, but also I want to be huge, so I'm like
thank you and fuck you at the same time.
Thank you, but stop it. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where you look at somebody who's always been big and be like, man, you're looking skinny, and it's okay. You're like, I don't know if I should be happy.
Or if people that don't really know me will be like, God, you're big, and I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah, it's you have no idea.
You have no idea. I'm little right now. They're like, you're little. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the same with me, because I still I've been doing this shit for a while, and I have I have those memories that pop up on Facebook, and there was a string of time in 2000, after 2017, I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna get as big as I can, and squat 1,000 pounds or whatever. And I look at some of those videos, and I was like, Jesus, I was fucking big.
Yeah.
And I was walking around at 260. And I was just like, holy shit. And I show Bree those photos, and she's like, you're never getting that big again. Because I was at the point where my fucking face was morphed into my neck, and I was cutting my sleeves on the shirts because I couldn't fucking.
And you can't hardly turn your head.
No, and wearing a fucking CPAP, just fucking not being able to breathe. 5'6" and 2 is fucking dense.
That's one of I'm looking forward to getting down and getting off the damn CPAP again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have, but my highest, I weighed in at APF Seniors in Detroit. I weighed in at 397. And to this day, I went, dude, Chad, you should have went and drank a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
You could have officially hit 400, you dumbass.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm the same way because I told you, I fucking, when I was 13 or 14, for football weigh-ins, I weighed, in high school, I was 292 pounds. And it's it's cool being able to be yeah, I lost over 100 pounds and then I put 60 back on. It's just of muscle. It's cool.
Yeah.
And it's a good journey and it's a good story to tell, but it's I wish I had a snack before I weighed in. Because I could have been 300. And then it would have been I went from 300 to 170 to 230. And that'd be neat. But it's
it just sounds better.
Yeah. Somebody should have made my parents get me a fucking burger from Wendy's or something.
It was I had before I hit my first 700-pound squat, there was one other guy in the gym I trained at that he was getting close too. So we had a bet who would get to the 700-pound squat first. Mm-hmm. And so we get to our meet, and I did 705. And he calls for 699. Or he actually, I think he went before me and called for 699, and I'm like, dude, 705. Yeah. And anytime, I would even hear him whisper across the gym, yeah, I'm a 700-pound. I go, no, you're not. Yeah. You're a 699.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I've done the same shit, and that's always been kind of a thing for me. Whenever I have and this is just I don't want to say that I have a god complex or a superiority complex, but it's kind of a superiority complex because whenever I have a landmark number where it's the first time I benched 4 plates or 5 plates was 490. It was 495.
Yeah.
But I was fuck 495, and I put 5s on.
Yeah.
And I went
I'm not going to do 495.
I'm not doing 495. I'm not doing 500. I'm doing 505. And when I fucking anytime it's I'm gonna deadlift 700 for the first time. I did 705. When I squatted 800 for the first time, I didn't do 799.9. I did 804 because it's like, fuck that. I'm not giving that number any power.
Yeah.
I don't fucking respect that number. I'm gonna do it. You know.
We had it was one of the like powerlifting prep seminars at Elite, and Dave ended up having Brandon and Casey. Like they weren't with the team or anything yet, and Dave. Dave kind of did that challenge. Were you at that one that seminar?
I wasn't. I don't think I was there, but I remember hearing the story.
Yeah, I had. So I was helping Casey because he was in my group, and I was helping somebody else with a question, and the other guys were deciding what Casey was going to go for on the bench. And like I have weird hearing, and a weird brain too. I heard 495, and I just went, "What? What the fuck did I just hear?" And I'm pissed.
Yeah.
You want to be a 400-pound bencher, a fucking 500-pound bencher?
Yeah.
And like Casey's like, okay, 505.
Yeah, because
like what? And then I'm like, I actually stood at his feet and I'm just screaming at him.
Yeah.
And he nails it, and then the first thing he does is he like literally jumps in my arms, and I'm like, all right.
It's like, all right.
Good job, Casey. I don't know why you're in my arms right now, but like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, dude, no, you're not gonna be on my team and do 495. That's not happening.
But that's the thing. Like, it's kind of like you have to, with shit like that. It's like these landmarks, but it's like you have to believe in yourself, like so wholeheartedly that like the number like doesn't mean anything. It's like I'm gonna be an 800-pound squatter because like I'm not just strong enough to hit 800 pounds. If I'm strong enough to hit 800 pounds, I'm strong enough to squat 804. If I'm strong enough to bench 495, I'm going to do 505 because it's like
if I can't get another 5 pounds, I don't deserve to have it anyway.
Exactly, So I'm the same way.
So we kind of have like I think I have a heart and will video on Courage Barbell, but it's actually an old video. I went out to the desert, and I'm like, I want to do a video of like what it's like on the platform. And I go into like, I have that whole warrior mentality. Like, this is my platform. This is my fucking world. Like, it's me against that bar, and it's his life or death. And if I don't get this squat, I might as well be fucking dead. And like, I just get pumped, and I'm in this whole other place. And like, if you walk in front of me, I will fucking literally kill you. Like, get the fuck out of my way. This is my world.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you kind of have that similar, flipping that switch into that whole crazy place, but this wonderful place where it's like there's no negative, none. Like you think you could, I don't know, fucking lift the world. Yeah.
And that's I don't even think you heard this story today, but like I was talking to Flex before I was leaving after the first session, but it's like when I've always flipped that switch, and it's always been competition, whether I was like doing powerlifting or wrestling or whatever. Like, it's why I love individual sports, because it's like, it's on me.
Yeah.
And if I win, I'm the fucking winner. If I lose, I'm the fucking loser.
Yeah.
It's like, I have to deal with it. But like, before my all-time world record, the most recent one in Kansas City last year, I called for it. I chipped it. So it was, the previous record was like 821. I went like 823 or whatever. I call for it, and JP Price, who is like incredibly strong powerlifter, he's been dealing with some injuries, but like he was doing the commentary, and he's or emceeing or whatever, and he goes on the mic and he says like, Joe Sullivan coming up with an all-time world record squat attempt, and the fact that he said attempt over the loudspeaker for some reason that offended me, because I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
It's my shit. I'm not fucking attempting this. How fucking dare you insinuate that I'm going to fucking miss it at all? It's not an attempt. It's my fucking shit. I'm fucking doing it right now. And then it put me in this fucking, like, I was already like, the switch had been flipped.
Yeah.
But that just turned the dial up even more. And I'm just like, fuck you and fuck everybody, because how dare you fucking think I'm not going to do this, because I'm going to go fucking smoke it right now. And then I'm very high energy and very like in the zone, and I'm very loud, and I say crazy shit when I'm like get in that zone, and everybody likes to feed off that energy, and it's like the spotters all day were fucking cheering for me and like yelling at me and whatnot. But there's this fucking dude, I can't remember his name, but I still talk to him occasionally. But he was in front of me, and they got this on camera. I'll repost it eventually. But he stands in front of me, and he's like, "Let's go, Joe, go out and get it." And I was like, for some reason, he was in between me and the bar, and I was like, I hate this person. And I said, fuck you, it's fucking mine. Get the fuck out of my way. And he was terrified. But I was just like, it's mine. And I'm just like, I had nothing against that kid. I had no reason to be that angry. But I was like, how dare he think that this is just an attempt? And then this kid, he's like telling me, oh, go and get it. I believe in you. And I'm like, fuck you. I don't fucking need you. It's fucking mine already. I just have to do it. Get the fuck out of my way.
You're keeping me from accomplishing this, goddammit.
You're just prolonging it.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and I just remember that because, like, I remember saying it and, like, on the meet day, I, like, do it and I'm all happy and I'm hugging my dad and it's fucking great. And then, like, I'm just thinking, I'm like, man, I'm a fucking asshole. I was like, that was fucking stupid. And then, like, weeks later, they release, like, the footage, and that's in there, and I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, I'm a fucking jackass. I'm like, why am I so mean? I'm like, I'm not, I swear I'm not that angry.
I would be in the same boat as you, but luckily I had Ethan.
Yeah.
Who, like, Ethan would actually keep people away.
Yeah.
Because he was like, don't, just get away. But even one time, me and Ethan would butt heads. And, like, he would stand in front of the bar. And we'd just be screaming at each other. And I would basically just throw him to the side when I was ready. And, I mean, he was like 330 pounds or something back then. And there was one time where I went, fuck!
Yeah.
And, like, I remember seeing his feet come off the ground. And it was like, I didn't think about it. I went and got my lift. But afterwards, I think, holy shit, I better calm down.
Yeah.
Because, like, even in that zone, if I throw his ass, I'm going to end up laughing way too hard to actually lift after that.
Exactly. And I don't know about you, but, like, I've always been really good at, like, flipping the switch and, like, generating it from myself. I've never needed people to, like, yell at me or, like, hit me or anything. I never.
The hitting thing actually annoys me.
Dude, okay, that's what I was leading into. Like, if somebody slaps me, I go from, like, being focused and, like, not angry, but like big aggression towards the lift into like we're fighting now.
Yeah, wanting to kill the person who hit you.
Get the fuck away from me because now I'm pissed at you. I don't give a fuck about lifting.
Yeah.
You just fucking hit me. Fuck you. I want to fucking swing on you. Because I remember I did a charity meet at Indy City Barbell in fucking South Bend, Indiana. And do you know who Garrett Fear is?